Greetings once again, heroes and villains out there. Duuz-Diz-Din back with the final chapter of My Hero Academia. It has been an amazing ride. While I haven't spent the full 10 years with the series, I did pick it up around 2015 from a recommendation from my friend Orson. On the off chance you're watching this, thank you eternally, man. And while this series hasn't remained my favorite, I still have a love for this series, and still, all things considered, think that it had a good conclusion. I've seen stories with bad endings that went in terrible directions, and for me at least, this isn't one of them. This had a good conclusion. Great, that's a matter of opinion, but I believe that the ending was good, and the epilogue made things even better. And while I believe that we'll see some sort of spin-off or sequel somewhere down the line, I am ready to say goodbye to an old friend. Last chapter we got the confirmation that Himiki Toga had died saving Ochako's life, and while she did terrible things, Uraraka still mourned for her because she understood her. She was one of the only people who understood her. Izuku could relate with his feelings toward Shigaraki, but he took the moment to tell Uraraka that she was his hero for all the things that she had done since the entrance exam. She was always in his corner no matter what, and he appreciated that. And while I wish the moment had lasted a little longer, the rest of Class A came to console Uraraka, who had gone off on her own. We saw All Might and Hawks discussing the changes that Hawks would make in terms of how heroes are recognized. It's a small change, and one I saw people criticize, but a few changes here and there can be the steps to something bigger down the line. Give it time. Who knows what Hawks will do in the future. We also got the tale of a mysterious boy who was locked away by his family because of the devastating effects that his quirk had. Another Toga, another Shigaraki in the making, another tragedy waiting to happen. And with him starting to feel a well of emotions from the smiling faces of the people who are rebuilding their lives, he starts to grow resentful. And it is until the same old woman who ignored a young Tenko all those years ago, lamenting her inaction, decided to do something this time around and took the boy's hand, showing that if nothing else, we have started to learn from the mistakes of the past. So what does the future hold? Join me as I find out, won't you? What a great cover page. It's still weird seeing All Might's eyes not blacked out. And despite all the scars, Izuku still smiles. What a great final spread. I'm gonna miss these guys. Narration. It's already been destroyed. It depends on what people decide to do tomorrow. People are not born equal. We each take shape differently, which leads us to care about others. It's because one's mind and body are unlike anyone else's that we're drawn to others in the search for common ground. Holy crap. So time has passed. Oh man. We see Koda, now a UA student, open the door saying, Midoriya, Deku Sensei. Oh man. We were meeting up for the practical exercise this afternoon. Where are we meeting up for the practical exercise this afternoon? And an older Deku sits at his desk writing, saying, at the bus stop. It'll also be a lesson on how to get to USJ. Izuku's narration continues as he writes in his notebook. He's still doing it. This was the truth about society I learned at age 17. And we see a montage of various events. Deku coming home to his mom, doing exams, Mirako continuing to deck out her limbs with more and more stuff. God, she took it all in stride. Different sports festivals, All Might helping an older Gran Torino, and Recovery Girl is still alive. Spinner wrote that book about the League of Villains, but seems like there are several copies that are left. Koda spent a lot of time with Eri, Aizawa, and Present Mike at the grave of Hirokumo, never still in that wheelchair. Oh, is that Melissa Shield coming to visit? That's what it looks like. It's like Shoji and Koda, I think doing something for heteromorphs. You see Bakugo trying to get back the use of his hand. Mr. Compress reading some book. Deku and Araka spending some time together. Ida giving the graduation speech, and of course a big flashy display. I'm not even sure who's involved. Is it Bakugo, and who's the other person involved with that? And you also see, on top of everything, Deku held on to the flames of One for All for as long as possible, but he eventually had them burn out. Deku's narration says, "There's no denying that on that day, I felt everyone's support, hopes, and prayers. Even now, those voices encourage me. If bearing a thought for someone else is the first step toward herodom, then on that day, everyone was a great hero. I was hardly cut out for the dream I held, but it came true for me anyway. And the tale that began when my book body took action before I could think comes to an end along with the ember of One for All. In that case, why am I still writing this? Because there are more pages yet to come." 8 years later. Oh god, is this Deku's old school? The teacher tells his class, "High school is just around the corner for you bunch. You're to fill out and turn in your career goal forms by next week." One kid says, "It's gotta be UA's hero course for me." Another says, "Support items are all the rage these days. I'm shooting to get hired by Lightly Labs." That's the design agency where that brainiac Hatsume works. And you see older Mei Hatsume who's just working away while Kanarazaki comes in saying, "Will you please bathe?" Yeah, that's about right. Another student says, "I'll follow in the footsteps of Dr. Ryu Yoshida." Yoshida, the Yoshi-looking like doctor, and become a physician who can cure the incurable. You can count on that. Oh, that's some good ambition, all things considered. A cat-looking like girl says, "I want to join Gel Inc., which went down in history during the Cyber War 5 years back. Girl bosses who can code are too awesome." And we see that that's a organization that Labrava and Gentle are a part of. Gel Inc. So it's G-E from Gentle and L for Labrava. Another kid says, "Wait, you're also shooting for the hero track?" As he looks at another kid's note. The kid says, "Hey, don't peek." The other student says, "Gonna be kind of tough given your quirk. I mean, come on, Dai." Dai says, well, you never know." The other kid says, "Especially since the villain emergency rate is on the downturn, which means they're cutting back on the number of pro heroes." So they did cut back on the number of heroes. We're looking at an era where only the uber powerful can be heroes. As the young Dai walks down the street, he thinks, everyone's really changed. When we were little, every last one of us was nuts about All Might, Endeavor, Best Genius, Deku, Great Explosion, Murder God, Dynamite. Oh my god, he kept that name. And Shoto, he kept that name. Oh, really? We wanted to be them. I get it. I'm the only one who never grew up. When I'm feeling unsure of myself, I always come here. The kid walks over to Kamino Ward. "Oh, so we met this kid before. I don't remember." But we see flashbacks of him holding, I think, an Endeavor figure and looking up to the All Might statue, with his parents saying, "Ready to try your best as a first-year Dai?" The young Dai says, And present-day Dai goes up to the statue of All Might. We then hear a report where we see, an older Shoji, and we see Koda and Bondo back there too. And as an announcer says, "Tentacoil, you've done remarkable work since your debut as a pro. You've devoted your efforts towards finding peaceful resolutions to conflicts surrounding discrimination based on body type, which is still a concern in rural areas. In recognition of your achievements and influence, you're the latest recipient of the Imamura Peace Prize." Okay. Well, it makes sense given all things considered. Shoji takes the mic saying, "I'm dedicating the honor to those who joined the uprising 8 years ago. All I've done is stand atop the resolve that they demonstrated to the world, nothing more." That's so him. Oh god, and you see an older Uraraka, Ida, although he's decked out in the suit so you can't really see his face, Froppy and Yayorozu. The announcer says, next in team-up news, Ingenium, Froppy, Creati, and Uravity have been touring elementary schools nationwide. Recent times have seen a decline of the villain emergence rate and a broadening of the role that heroes play in society, which is good. Exactly what Uraka wanted to do. Part of this expansion is the plan spearheaded by Uravity to expand access to quirk counseling, yes, which is thought to be the most essential, innovative of all in this day and age. Yes. Counseling about quirks, getting to understand them, finding peaceful resolutions to quirks that seem more destructive and stuff. And oh my god, we see a young Eri, now a junior high student. She's so happy with her friends. You then see Aizawa come up. He cut his hair. I hate that. He brings up his phone saying, "Hey, you seen this, Midoriya? Your old pal is about to drop a few notches down the Billboard charts again." Deku looks over saying, "Kachan?" Uh-oh. And the video shows Bakugo saying, "Who said you could get up in my face? I ain't your entertainment. You wanna die, pal?" Yeah, that's about right. Aizawa says, "So much for that." Deku says, "You were trying to clean up his act, right? Especially his language." Aizawa says, "Todoroki's really gonna take the lead now." We see an older Todoroki. As Deku says, "Well, he's out there doing good day and night. He might be a little awkward, but he treats all fans equally with respect. And these days, people are thinking of him as Endeavor's son less and less." Okay. You know how Togata-senpai skyrocketed to the top of the charts, surpassing Kamui Woods and Mount Lady along the way. Wow, so Mirio did get bigger and bigger. Now Monoma and Hananuki are matching that energy and coming up fast. The other day, Togata-senpai even joked about quaking in his booties. Oh my god. Aizawa asked, "Do you miss it?" "Oh yeah, he doesn't have his power anymore." I had to remember that. Dang. So he what? Only had it for another year maybe? Dang. Deku pauses and then says, "The thing is, when you and Fuwa-senpai were chatting all those years ago, a thought occurred to me. I might be quirkless again. But as long as I made use of my experience to encourage others, well, there's something kind of awesome about that." He smiles. Yeah. And Deku being a teacher makes all the sense in the world. Someone who understands other people's abilities and helps them to be able to better utilize them makes all the sense in the world. Deku smiles at Aizawa saying, "I'm pretty awesome now, right? Maybe?" Aizawa tells him, "You should be stricter with your students." Deku just looks away dejected. But Aizawa says, "I'm telling you it matters. These days, the type of kids who make it here to learn from us are basically given a golden ticket to be future heroes. You have to be tough. Keep them humble so they don't get big heads. Understood?" Deku says, "You were so nice to us though, Sensei." Was he though? Aw, Deku's not wearing his cool shoes anymore. He traded them in for loafers. Oh well. It looks like a statue of Class 1A was put up though. As Deku walks down the street, you hear his narration. "Ever since we all started working, our time off never seems to line up. It's hard to plan get-togethers." That's just adult life. But he walks past advertisements for Tokoyami. And then there's a report about Kirishima saying, "Absurdly popular with the male demographic. It's the chivalrous Red Riot. Now dive into his surprising origin story." Oh god. And as Deku looks up at the monitor, some kids run over saying, "Look, it's Red. Yeah, on the break floor." Whoa, bang. Yep, that's a little kid for you. Deku looks off, saying, "I do get a real kick out of seeing everyone's success. And when I get to thinking about our time in school, I tend to come here." So he's also at the Statue of All Might. But then one of the kids tripped. Deku sees it, and just like all those chapters before, he jumps in without thinking to catch the kid. And while he does catch the kid, Dai also dived in, but kind of whiffed it, hitting the ground hard. The little kid gives a bow saying, "Close call, thanks, mister." And then Deku looks over at Dai, and Dai says, Deku? Izuku Midoriya? Oh, you really exist. Holy cow. Deku just hands over a napkin as they talk. Deku says, "Is that so? You're almost in high school?" Dai says, "They say the times are changing fast and in big ways. Someone like me can't keep up anymore since I've got a super wimpy quirk compared to my classmate. That's why I visit the All Might statue and ask him. Dai pauses, and Deku looks on intently. Dai then says, if I can become a hero, like all of you did. Deku smiles, remembering the question he asked All Might all those years ago. Can I become a hero like you, All Might? Deku then starts muttering, your quirk allows you to throw those saucer-like objects from your hair. Hair-based quirk. Taking a cue from Mineta, that should be workable. You could stack them for boosted strength and maybe even change their size. Seems quite versatile. Dice thinks creepy but encouraging at the same time. Some things never change. Deku thinks ever since my own dream came true, it's been my turn to plant dreams in others. Deku tells him, you'll be fine. After all, didn't you make an effort to reach out with a helping hand just now? Oh, the statue doesn't just show All Might. It's a statue of multiple people. Huh. Deku puts a hand on Dai's shoulder saying, you can be a hero. And as Dai's eyes light up, Deku gives a big grin saying, do your best, kid. And as Deku walks into UA the next day, his narration says, I'd be lying if I claimed I didn't miss it all. But as long as I can still inspire and encourage others, then I'd say this is still the tale of how we became great heroes. My Hero Academia, the end. And then All Might comes and grabs the end and just crushes it, saying, you're late, kid. Oh God, he looks older now too. Oh God, this is what a lot of people said should have been how things went from the beginning. Is that what I think it is? Deku says, I would have met you at the airport if I'd known. All Might tells him, I've got a surprise gift for you. Deku says, oh, is it a wall scroll? Really? All Might says, the data obtained from the battle between me and All for One 8 years ago apparently opened up all sorts of exciting possibilities, so they tell me. He holds out a suitcase saying, just as quirks themselves grow and deepen, so too does technology. You mastered using multiple quirks at once, so I want you out there giving us more data. Deku says, it must have cost a fortune. I can't. But as the suitcase starts to transform, All Might tells him, my overseas friend and young Hatsume came together to create this. Malicious Shield and Hatsume working together. Oh, is it what I think it is? Considering what we saw All Might using all those years ago. All Might tells him, and the project was funded by your old chums from Class A, led by Bakugo. Aww. They've been working hard all these years for this. All Might says, don't try to hide it. Your body still has a way of leaping into action, right? Take this to heart, kid. You've also earned this power, fair and square. Deku starts to well up with tears, but he blinks them away with a big smile. Bakugo enters, saying, come on, Deku. And as Deku's narration said, all of us, for all time, this is the tale of how we'll keep reaching out to help for all time. We see Hawk saying, more time to kill than ever? I wonder. Traffic's all backed up because of a landslide on War Star Road, Star Wars. Oh, he's still including stuff like that. Requesting heroes who can respond. As Deku leaps into the fray, the spirit of Tomura Shigaraki watches. Deku looks back as he catches a glimpse of it, and he joins his friend as they leap into action. And we see the design of all them so much older. God, I want a clear image of how they look. I will say, if there was anything I wanted, it's kind of a movie about them older jumping into action. Oh, man. Mina grew out her hair. I want to see more of her costume. Tentacle looks so big. Ito with all that armor. Mineta, he's there. And Bakugo looks cool with his new gauntlet. So essentially Deku kind of has the same armor that All Might used against All for One. And Kaminari's got a cool look. Froppy, she doesn't look too different. I love Sarah's new look. And Ojiro? His outfit looks awesome. Shinso has a great awesome outfit. Sugarman just looks bigger. I can't really make out what he's got going on. Funny enough, it looks like Yayorozu actually closed up the front of her costume. Like, now when it's no longer controversial, she closes everything up. It looks like Jiro's made Good use of the fact that she only now has one earphone jack, and Koda's got a good look too, dang. And with that, My Hero Academia has come to an end, at least in terms of the manga. Now, I kind of knew as time was going on that Torikoshi probably would want to have a bit of a setup for what could happen afterwards, because I've heard plenty of people say we want a My Hero Academia without the academia part. And that's entirely possible. I personally think this is a good ending. Did it have its ups and downs and lackluster parts? Yeah, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I've read and watched so many series that didn't get half as good of an ending as this, or got cut short well before they even made it to this point. Either because of a lack of time, the author was going through something, and nothing ever felt too bad. There were a few kind of like, I'm not quite sure about that moment, but I enjoyed how this concluded. I don't have a problem with this ending. I will say that I wish we at least got a little bit something more to the whole relationship between Izuku and Ochako, because that felt very undercooked for me, especially given how much time it had been given throughout the series. But maybe that's something for another day. Definitely feels like we need a Naruto the Last kind of situation, if you know what I mean. Katsuki Bakugo just working it out so he could get back that strength in his arm. Getting to see Eri all grown up, well, in middle school. Spinner wrote that book. He honestly should have made it a comic book though. But the amount of villains is declining. Could that somehow be reversed? Could they be grown in shadows? Entirely possible. But there's always going to be bad people for more reasons than just not being understood. But having people who understood why a lot of those villains became the way they were and actually combating it at the root cause probably has done a lot of good. I didn't notice it before, but the one kid who we focused on towards the end of last chapter, he was going to UA, which I'm so glad to see. That's such a great thing. I wish we had gotten a focus on that a little bit more too. And Tentacle just continuing to work for the rights of heteromorphs and all that, that's great. Gravity working for quirk counseling and stuff. I wish more had been done to kind of honor Midnight, especially with the way she went out. I don't know, I still have mixed feelings about her death, but knowing that Mirio is still doing great, I wish we had gotten to see him older. That would have been cool. And Deku encouraging the kid Dai to be a great hero. Even if he no longer has One for All to pass on, he could still be encouraging in the same way All Might was encouraging to him. That's great. And a brand new suit, knowing that Malicious Shield and Mei Hasume came together in order to create something for him, that's cool. And Shigaraki is still watching. And remember that one of the criticisms people always had was that they had wished that Deku had tried to use his knowledge in order to get around people's quirks and be able to wield different abilities or get equipment and support items in order to be a hero and stuff. And now you have that. I know it's not in the way that a lot of people wanted, but I'm actually kind of interested in what Deku, mostly just using support items, would be like. And who knows, maybe there's still some embers, even just small ones, of One for All still in them. You never know. But maybe that's wishful thinking. I'm so interested to see what happens next for them though. Will we get some kind of spin-off? A sequel? A story about another character? Maybe a movie? Entirely possible. I wouldn't hate that. I definitely just want to see how they operate older. Will they just be carbon copies of them in high school, like they peaked in high school? Or could there be something bigger? I don't know. This is an ending that definitely kind of gets categorized, for me at least, along the same lines of Shaman King. An ending that could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. And I'm satisfied with. Can't wait to see how it works out in the anime. I didn't get emotional or anything about it because the emotional moments had all kind of passed a little bit ago. And last chapter, that was a bit of a whammy with the finale of that. I felt good about this. I feel good. I'll miss this. I'll miss having this regularly in my life. I know it definitely has to come back in some way, shape, or form. But until then, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this final chapter in the comment section below, or just memories of My Hero Academia, or even criticisms you had. Let me know in the comment. Also remember to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, remember to go plus ultra in all things you do, because you can be a hero too. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye.